What if I told you that one single phrase, said with faith and intention, every hour, could shift your entire reality? That your life, your finances, your relationships, and your health could be realigned with divine abundance, simply by aligning your words with the truth of your soul. This is not fiction. This is not fantasy. This is spiritual law. And as Florence Scovel Shinn once taught us, your word is your wand. What you speak, you create. Your words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every word you speak is a declaration of what you believe to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously. It becomes an energetic imprint sent out into the universe, shaping the way your reality forms and unfolds. Most people underestimate the power of their spoken words. They believe that words are merely expressions, temporary vibrations that disappear once said. But in truth, words are the tools through which we shape our destiny, direct our energy, and command the invisible forces of life to work in our favor, or against us. Florence Scovel Shinn, one of the most powerful spiritual teachers of the 20th century, famously wrote, "Your word is your wand." This wasn't metaphorical. She meant it quite literally. What you speak, especially what you speak with faith, becomes the pattern through which divine intelligence manifests. When you affirm something with deep conviction, your subconscious mind listens. And once the subconscious accepts it as truth, it sets in motion the energies and circumstances necessary to bring that truth to life. This is why saying something every hour holds such transformational power. It's not just about repeating a phrase. It's about constantly realigning your vibration. It's about bathing your consciousness in truth, dissolving the lies you've inherited from fear, doubt, and limitation. Imagine what would happen if, instead of letting your mind wander every hour to fear or stress, you instead took command and declared, "Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good." That is not just a sentence. That is a spiritual command. It is a reminder to your soul and your mind that a higher power is always in control and that your highest good is already unfolding, even if you cannot see it yet. Science confirms that the brain adapts through repetition. The more you think or say something, the more it becomes hardwired. Spiritually, the same is true. Repetition is the way you train your spiritual muscles. Each time you speak a powerful truth, your inner world begins to believe it more deeply. At first, it may feel mechanical, it may even feel fake, but keep saying it, every hour, every day. Slowly the words you speak begin to sink in. Your doubt turns to belief. Your belief becomes knowing. And from that knowing, your outer world begins to reflect what you've long been affirming. This practice is not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing the higher truth over the temporary facts. The fact may be that your bank account is low, but the truth is that divine abundance flows through you. The fact may be that you're confused or anxious, but the truth is that divine intelligence is guiding you. The fact may be that things feel uncertain, but the truth is that everything is working out for your highest good. When you start living by truth instead of facts, you no longer react to life. You create it. The words you speak cast the blueprint for your experiences. If you keep declaring lack, you continue to attract it. If you speak constantly about being tired, unlucky, or unworthy, the universe responds not with punishment, but with confirmation of what you believe. The law is always fair. It simply gives you more of what your energy declares. But here's the beautiful part. It works in the other direction too. If you begin to speak faith, you begin to experience more of it. If you affirm divine abundance, you start noticing opportunities, money, and provision in places you once overlooked. If you declare that everything is working out for your highest good, even obstacles begin to make sense. They transform into stepping stones rather than setbacks. Every word becomes a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. If you water it with belief and consistency, it grows. The phrase, Say this every hour and your entire reality shifts. Is not hype, it's law. You are reprogramming not only your mind but your vibration. And your vibration is your point of attraction. If you speak love, faith, abundance, and guidance every hour, your point of attraction shifts accordingly. You become a magnet for divine order. Miracles begin to feel normal. Synchronicities increase. The people, ideas, and resources you need are drawn to you. Not because you're lucky, but because you finally aligned your inner voice with your divine identity. This is the creative power of words. This is why prophets, sages, and spiritual masters all taught the importance of guarding your tongue and choosing your speech wisely. Jesus said, "By your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned." The Proverbs remind us that death and life are in the power of the tongue. These are not poetic sayings. They are spiritual laws. And when you apply these laws with hourly intention, you invite divine magic into your daily life. You no longer live by fear. You live by truth. You no longer speak what you see. You speak what you want to see until it becomes your new reality. You don't have to struggle, hustle, or push. You simply speak, believe, and allow the divine to work on your behalf. So, speak with intention. Speak with authority. Speak every hour. Because the more you speak the truth, the faster your reality will shift to match it. Let your words be your compass, your wand, and your bridge to the life you are destined to live. Repetition is not just a habit. It's a spiritual discipline. When we repeat something consistently, especially something infused with intention and faith, it becomes embedded into the very fabric of our consciousness. The mind is like a field. The more often you plant a seed, the stronger and deeper the roots will grow. When you say a spiritually aligned phrase every hour, you are not simply uttering words. You are training your inner world to expect, accept, and attract a new reality. Our minds are constantly working, thinking, analyzing, imagining, and reacting. Left unmanaged, the mind becomes a sponge for fear, scarcity, doubt, and distraction. Most people are repeating things all day without realizing it: complaints, anxieties, worries, self-doubt, frustration. These silent repetitions shape our moods, our energy, and eventually our outcomes. So the question isn't, are you repeating something all day? The real question is, what are you repeating? Imagine the power of replacing those unconscious, disempowering loops with a declaration like, "Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good." Imagine saying that not once, not twice, but every hour, with presence, belief, and clarity. With each repetition, you begin to overwrite the default programming of fear and limitation. You install a new internal code, one based on truth, faith, and spiritual alignment. The mind, like any muscle, responds to repetition. Just as you cannot build physical strength with a single workout, you cannot rewire your thoughts or change your vibration with a single affirmation. The power is in the practice. Every hour becomes a chance to pause, reset, and realign. Every time you speak the phrase, you are reinforcing a new identity, one rooted in divine truth rather than egoic fear. At first, it might feel awkward. You may forget. You may say it and feel nothing. That's okay. The shift happens not in the momentary emotion, but in the accumulated energy of your commitment. Just as a sculptor chips away piece by piece to reveal the masterpiece beneath, each repetition chips away at the false beliefs that have kept you stuck. Over time, you don't just believe the affirmation, you embody it. This practice of hourly affirmation does something subtle yet profound. It creates a rhythm in your day. It anchors your attention, brings you back to center, and opens space for the divine to speak through your intuition. The more often you affirm truth, the more sensitive you become to guidance. You start to notice shifts, small signs, moments of peace, inspired ideas. You begin to sense that something is moving, something is aligning, even if the external results haven't fully arrived yet. Hourly repetition is like keeping your spiritual frequency clear and tuned. Think of it as maintaining a high vibration throughout the day, regardless of what's happening around you. You could be at work, in traffic, cooking dinner. But in that moment when you speak the phrase, you rise above your circumstances. You step into your power. You take control of your inner environment. This is not about forcing change. It's about creating space for change to unfold. When your mind is filled with clutter, the voice of divine intelligence gets drowned out. But when you keep affirming truth hourly, you create silence between the noise, space for intuition, miracles, and guidance to emerge naturally. You no longer have to strive. You simply align and receive. People often ask why things aren't changing in their lives, even after reading spiritual books, praying, or visualizing. The answer is often simple inconsistency. They speak the truth once a day, maybe in the morning, and then spend the rest of the day affirming fear, limitation, and lack. But when you bring in hourly repetition, you eliminate that gap. You surround your entire day, your thoughts, your words, your emotions, in spiritual truth. That kind of immersion creates real, lasting transformation. In truth, this practice is not just about manifesting more money, better relationships, or personal success, though those may very well come. This is about becoming someone new, someone who responds with faith instead of fear, someone who expects abundance instead of worrying about lack, someone who knows, without needing proof, that everything is working out for their highest good. With hourly repetition, you train your nervous system to relax, your mind to focus, and your spirit to trust. You no longer need constant reassurance from the outside world. You have your own inner source of reassurance. The words you speak in alignment with divine truth. Let's be clear. Repetition doesn't guarantee immediate change, but it does guarantee gradual transformation. It creates an energetic shift that becomes too strong to be ignored. The universe, which always responds to vibration, begins to match your consistent declarations with new opportunities, blessings, and breakthroughs. What seemed difficult becomes effortless. What was delayed begins to flow. What was hidden is revealed. By saying the same affirmation every hour, you are not begging the universe to change. You are declaring that it already has. And in that declaration, you become the vibrational match for the reality you desire. You step out of waiting and into receiving. So here is your invitation. Begin today. Set an hourly reminder if you must. Let it be a sacred bell that brings you back to the present moment. When it rings, say it out loud or silently in your heart. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. Say it with faith. Say it with fire. Say it until your soul believes it so deeply that the entire universe can't help but respond. Because it will, and when it does, you'll look back and realize your reality didn't shift by accident. It shifted because you claimed it, hour by hour, word by word. And that is the true power of repetition. Fear is the great thief. It steals our peace, our clarity, our confidence, and ultimately our destiny. Most of us don't even realize how much of our inner world is governed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear of losing what we love, fear of not having enough money, time, or opportunity. It hides behind our choices, our hesitation, our doubt, and even our silence. Left unchecked, fear grows roots in our consciousness, affecting how we speak, act, think, and attract. But here's the truth. Fear is not your nature. Faith is. There is a divine power that resides in you, and that power does not communicate through fear. It speaks through calm, through knowing, through a deep and unshakable faith. That's why when you say a phrase like, "Divine intelligence guides me," divine abundance flows through me, everything is working out for my highest good, you're not just speaking pretty words. You are choosing to replace fear with faith. Right in that moment, you are shifting your internal authority from the ego to the divine. And that one decision, spoken with clarity and repetition, can begin to rewrite your life from the inside out. The truth is, both fear and faith ask the same thing: to believe in something you cannot see. Fear says, "What if it all goes wrong?" Faith says, "What if it all works out?" Fear asks you to trust in your problems. Faith invites you to trust in your purpose. And between those two energies lies your power to choose. Every hour that passes brings countless moments when fear tries to sneak in, through a thought, a news headline, a bank balance, a conversation. But when you make it your sacred habit to declare faith out loud, you become a conscious creator of peace. Speaking this affirmation every hour is like shining a flashlight in a dark room. The darkness cannot stay when light is introduced. Fear cannot stay when truth is spoken. It's not about denying your problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to trust that a power greater than you is already working on your behalf. It's about choosing to believe that unseen solutions are moving toward you, even if you can't yet see them. When you speak faith aloud, especially in moments when fear feels heavy, you are doing something extraordinary. You are shifting your chemistry, your vibration, your frequency. Fear constricts. It tightens your breath, narrows your vision, and blocks intuition. But faith expands. It opens your chest, calms your nervous system, and brings mental clarity. This isn't wishful thinking. It's neurobiology and spiritual law working together. You feel better not because your outer world changed instantly, but because your inner alignment shifted toward truth. That's what this hourly affirmation is truly about. Returning again and again to the truth that you are guided, provided for, and protected. Even if your mind forgets, your spirit remembers. And when you speak the words, your mind begins to remember too. You bring all of you, your logic, your emotions, your energy, back into alignment with your soul. Some might ask, how can just saying a sentence every hour change my life? But those who've walked the path of spiritual growth know that the simplest practices, done consistently, are the most powerful. This phrase, when repeated with intention, becomes like a lifeline. It keeps you anchored when life feels chaotic. It lifts you when you feel low. It holds your hand through uncertainty and reminds you that you are not walking alone. The divine is not only beside you, it flows through you. There is also something incredibly empowering about speaking faith aloud. Words have vibration. They cut through mental clutter. When you hear yourself affirm divine truth, you start to build a new identity. You're no longer someone who reacts to fear. You become someone who responds with faith. You stop shrinking. You start expanding. You stop hesitating. You start trusting. And the more you trust, the more life begins to mirror that trust. Opportunities show up. The right people arrive. Your energy changes, and suddenly you're not just trying to survive. You're beginning to thrive. This doesn't mean life will be free from challenges, but it does mean that your response to those challenges will come from a higher place, a place of power, peace, and divine partnership. Remember, fear never completely goes away. But you don't need it to. You simply need to train yourself to respond differently when it shows up. That's where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. Every time you feel doubt creeping in, and you speak, divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. You are declaring spiritual authority over your reality. And here's what happens when you keep doing it. Hour by hour, day by day, the fear starts to lose its grip. You don't react as quickly. You pause. You remember. And then you affirm. That moment of affirmation becomes your power move. It tells the universe, I trust the process. I trust the plan. I trust the timing. And from that space, you become a magnet for blessings. Your outer world begins to shift because your inner world is no longer driven by fear. It's now guided by faith. And that shift, repeated enough times, becomes permanent. You no longer have to fake it. You become it. Fear may knock, but it no longer enters. Doubt may whisper, but you no longer listen. You've trained yourself to hear a different voice, the voice of truth, the voice of God, the voice of infinite intelligence. So speak your truth, declare your alignment, and when fear returns, as it will, smile and say once again, divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. There is a frequency, a divine rhythm, a higher order to life that is always at work. Even when we don't see it, even when we don't understand it, this divine intelligence is not outside of us, it is within us. It is the part of us that knows before the mind knows, that trusts even when fear is loud, that whispers yes, when everything else screams no. But to access this higher consciousness, we must align with it. We must match its frequency, and the simplest, most powerful way to do this is through the consistent and intentional use of words, affirmations of truth that call us out of confusion and into clarity. When you say, divine intelligence guides me, divine abundance flows through me, everything is working out for my highest good, you are not making a wish. You are tuning yourself into the divine flow. You are removing static from the channel. You are aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy with a field of consciousness that is bigger, wiser, and more loving than the limited perspective of your human mind. You are reminding yourself that you are not separate from God, the universe, or the source. You are part of it, one with it, and supported by it. Higher consciousness cannot operate in a cluttered mind. It doesn't speak through panic. It doesn't yell through fear. It speaks softly, through stillness, through peace, through intuitive nudges and quiet knowing. That's why we don't always hear it. Because we're often too busy overthinking, doubting, and reacting. But when you take even 10 seconds every hour to affirm divine truth, you pause that chaos, you open the window, you allow light in, and in that space, higher consciousness begins to lead. Alignment is not something you force, it's something you allow. When you affirm that divine intelligence is guiding you, you stop trying to control every detail. You release the need to figure everything out, to predict the outcome, or to manage every moving part. You begin to trust that there is a higher plan unfolding, a plan that sees what you cannot, that knows what you need before you ask. And when you align with that, your steps become clearer. You move with less resistance. You begin to feel carried by something bigger than you, as if the path is rising up to meet your feet. Alignment with higher consciousness is the source of true wisdom. It is where solutions come from, not forced, logical solutions born from stress, but elegant, perfect answers that seem to appear out of nowhere. You might call it intuition, divine guidance, or spiritual insight. Whatever name you give it, it is real, and it becomes stronger every time you affirm that it's guiding you. You are not trying to make things happen. You are listening, you are aligning, and you are following. You are turning your life into a dialogue with the divine. As you say the phrase every hour, your vibration gradually rises. And as your vibration rises, the things that once made sense begin to fall away. The patterns you used to repeat, the relationships you used to tolerate, the limits you used to accept, they no longer match who you are becoming. That is the work of higher consciousness. It doesn't just change what you receive. It changes who you are. It changes how you see, how you speak, how you respond, and what you allow. You begin to operate from a new level of awareness. You no longer ask small questions like, what's going wrong? You begin asking, what's being revealed? What is life teaching me? What is my soul ready for? These questions are powerful because they assume there's a deeper purpose behind everything. They reflect a mind that is no longer stuck in fear, but curious about truth. And curiosity is one of the first signs that you are aligned with something higher. There is no need to struggle for connection. You don't have to beg the universe to help you. The divine is always present, always speaking, always guiding. The only question is, are you listening? Are you still enough? Are you aligned? And this is why the hourly repetition of truth is so vital. Because it keeps you tuned in. It protects your vibration. It centers your awareness. It reminds you again and again that you are not alone, that you are not forgotten, and that you are not lost. Every hour becomes a mini spiritual reset, a moment to return to yourself, to step back into flow, to reconnect with the infinite wisdom that is always whispering, this way. It doesn't matter if you don't feel it right away. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen quietly, beneath the surface. But over time, you will begin to notice that you are calmer, clearer, and more in sync with life. You begin to trust your instincts more. You make better choices. You avoid unnecessary battles. You receive more, resist less, and walk with a quiet confidence that others can't quite explain. And this confidence isn't arrogance. It's alignment. It's what happens when your human mind begins to dance with divine mind. When your plans become partnerships. When your days are guided not by stress, but by surrender. This is the path of peace, power, and purpose. It is available to you right now, not someday, not when everything is perfect, but now. All it takes is a willingness to return, hour by hour, to the truth. So say it again, now. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. Let those words be your anchor. Let them guide you, shape you, elevate you. Let them bring you back to your highest self, again and again. Because when you align with higher consciousness, you don't just change your life. You remember who you truly are. And that remembrance is the greatest miracle of all. Most people don't realize how deeply programmed they are. From a young age, thoughts of fear, lack, judgment, and limitation are quietly planted into the mind, by society, by family, by media, by experience. Over time, these thoughts take root and grow into deeply embedded patterns. They play in the background of our lives like a looped recording. I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. I'll always struggle with money. People can't be trusted. These thoughts are not true. But when they're repeated often enough, the mind begins to accept them as facts. And once that happens, your thoughts begin shaping your reality. What you think, you feel. What you feel, you attract. What you attract becomes your life. But here's the truth most people never learns. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And because of that, you have the power to interrupt them, to break the loop, and to install new patterns that are rooted in truth, power, and divine alignment. And the moment you start saying something like, divine intelligence guides me, divine abundance flows through me, everything is working out for my highest good, you are doing something profound. You are disrupting a negative thought pattern in real time. It might seem small at first, just a phrase, just a moment, but the mind is shaped by repetition, and even one interruption can begin to weaken the grip of a long-standing belief. When you say something rooted in faith and spiritual law, you break the momentum of fear. You cut through the noise. It's like pressing pause on a movie you've been watching unconsciously for years, and finally deciding you're ready to change the channel. That's the power of intentional affirmations. You are not just saying words. You're reclaiming your power to choose what you believe, how you feel, and what you allow to take root in your mental garden. Most of our negative thoughts are automatic. We don't think them on purpose. They arise without invitation. But when you consciously speak truth, you take back authorship of your inner story. You stop letting old programming drive your life, and you begin to design your life with awareness, with purpose, and with divine partnership. Every time you catch yourself drifting into fear or doubt, and you stop to say the phrase, divine intelligence guides me, divine abundance flows through me, everything is working out for my highest good, You reclaim your authority. You declare to your subconscious, "We're not doing it that way anymore." And over time, your mind begins to adjust. The old thoughts still come, but they no longer control you. They no longer pull you into spirals. They no longer decide what you do next. That space between reaction and response becomes wider, and in that space, you find your true power. It's important to know that your brain is not fixed. It can change. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself based on what you focus on and repeat. That means every single time you affirm spiritual truth, you're creating a new neural pathway, a new groove, a new habit of thought. And the more you walk that new mental path, the easier it becomes to return to it. Eventually, it becomes the default. Think about how many years fear has had a voice in your mind, how long you've accepted worry, struggle, or unworthiness as your normal. Now imagine what can happen if hour after hour, day after day, you begin to speak a different truth, a higher truth, a divine truth. Over time, you begin to dismantle the lie and replace it with light. The beautiful thing about disrupting negative thought patterns is that you don't need to fight them. You don't need to analyze every wound, relive every trauma, or understand every insecurity. You simply need to choose differently in the moment. You need to speak from the place of your highest self, the part of you that already knows you are safe, guided, provided for, and deeply loved. When you speak from that place, the old patterns begin to dissolve naturally. They lose their power because they are no longer being fed. This is why saying a powerful affirmation every hour is so effective. It doesn't give your lower mind time to take over. It keeps your vibration high and your awareness focused. Even if you don't feel the shift right away, it's happening beneath the surface. Just as water wears away stone drop by drop, your spoken truth is wearing away the old fear-based architecture of your mind. And what replaces it is something extraordinary: clarity, calm, joy, and a deep sense of trust in the process of your life. Eventually, the voice in your head begins to change. The critic becomes a coach. The worrier becomes a witness. The doubt becomes discernment. You start to hear yourself think, "Everything is working out." And you believe it. You don't panic when something unexpected happens. You don't spiral when a plan changes. You remember the truth, because you've practiced the truth. You've installed it. You've claimed it. And the shift isn't just internal. Your outer world begins to reflect this new inner alignment. You attract better experiences. You navigate conflict with ease. You bounce back faster. People respond to your energy differently. Why? Because you're no longer projecting fear. You're radiating faith. So the next time your thoughts start to spiral, remember this: you are not helpless. You have a tool. You have a phrase that is more than words. It is a reset, a command, a spiritual intervention. Use it. Say it aloud. Say it often. Say it with belief. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. That one sentence can pull you out of fear and place you back in alignment. It can silence doubt, redirect your energy, and remind you who you truly are. Not a victim of your thoughts, but a conscious creator of your life. Because the moment you disrupt a negative thought pattern, you open the door to miracles. And miracles are already on their way to meet you. Everything is energy. This isn't just a spiritual concept. It's a scientific truth. At the deepest level, everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency, including you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and your beliefs all carry a frequency that emits a signal into the world. And the universe, in turn, responds to that signal by matching it with experiences, opportunities, people, and outcomes that resonate with it. This is why changing your inner state, especially your energy, is the most powerful way to change your outer life. Most people try to change their reality by changing things outside of themselves. They hustle harder, chase opportunities, force results, or manipulate circumstances. But real transformation begins within. When your energy shifts, everything else begins to shift with it, effortlessly, naturally, and sometimes even miraculously. And that's the beauty of speaking an affirmation like, "Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good." When you say it with faith, with consistency, and with emotional connection, your entire energy field begins to change. At first, you may not feel anything. You might still be facing the same problems, looking at the same bank balance, dealing with the same tension. But something subtle and powerful begins to happen inside. You feel a little calmer, a little lighter, a little more hopeful. That shift, even if it's just 1%, raises your vibration. And that new vibration is a signal to the universe: I am ready, I am aligned, I am available for more. The universe doesn't respond to words alone, it responds to the energy behind them. That's why repetition is key. When you affirm something every hour, you're not just repeating a phrase, you're building a new energy signature. You are bathing your aura, your mind, and your spirit in the frequency of truth, abundance, and divine support. That frequency begins to ripple outward, like waves in a pond, affecting everything in your orbit. People feel it. Opportunities gravitate toward it. Life begins to mirror it back to you in unexpected ways. You might start to notice small changes: a chance meeting, a helpful message, a new opportunity. These aren't coincidences. They are echoes of your shifted energy. When you consistently affirm truth, you become a magnet for new results because your field is no longer broadcasting fear, lack, or confusion. It's broadcasting clarity, certainty, faith. That kind of energy is irresistible to the universe. It attracts things that match its quality, not through force, but through natural law. You may find that solutions arrive with less effort. That doors open without you needing to knock so hard. That people suddenly see your value more clearly. Why? Because you're not carrying the vibration of desperation anymore. You're not leaking energy through worry. You're standing in alignment, in power, in flow, and people, even without knowing why, respond differently to someone who is centered, grounded, and trusting. They feel the shift, and it affects the way they relate to you. What's more, as your energy rises, your own perception changes. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there, but previously hidden by your stress or disbelief. You're not just attracting more, you're recognizing more. You're not just manifesting better things. You're stepping into a version of yourself that can hold, enjoy, and sustain those things. Because without the internal shift, even the best external results can feel fleeting or overwhelming. But when your energy expands, you can receive from a place of confidence, grace, and readiness. This is the deeper purpose of speaking truth every hour. It's not just to get what you want. It's to become who you truly are, a conscious creator, a vibrational match to your desires, a clear and open vessel for divine abundance. That transformation is not a one-time event, it's a gradual recalibration. Every time you say the phrase, you reinforce the new frequency. Every time you speak it, especially when you don't feel it, you are choosing to vibrate higher than your circumstances, and eventually, your energy becomes too powerful for your old limitations to hold on to you. You no longer attract the same drama. You no longer entertain the same patterns. You no longer settle for less because your vibration naturally repels what is not in harmony with your worth. And you no longer chase. You attract. You allow. You receive. That's the magnetism that comes from alignment, not the loud, aggressive pulling energy of force, but the calm, quiet glow of faith and presence. You don't need to fake this, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. One phrase, every hour, with intention and belief, can begin to reset your energetic field. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. It doesn't matter what you've struggled with. The moment you begin aligning your words with truth, your energy starts to shift. And when your energy shifts, your life cannot stay the same. It has to adjust to the new frequency you are holding. So say it again now. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. Let those words wash over your energy field. Let them soften the tension. Let them clear the static. Let them open the gates for miracles to find you. Because they will. They already are. The shift has begun the moment you decided to speak the truth more often than you speak the fear. And as your energy continues to rise, new results will no longer be the exception. They will be your new normal. Because what you are aligned with, you naturally attract. When you choose to speak a higher truth every hour over time, something extraordinary happens. You no longer just say the words, you become them. The phrase that once felt like a lifeline slowly transforms into a part of your being. You no longer speak it only when things go wrong or fear creeps in. It becomes the melody your soul hums even in silence. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good. This isn't just something you say anymore. It becomes who you are. And that is the essence of spiritual embodiment. It's the moment when belief leaves the realm of theory and becomes lived reality. You move beyond hoping for abundance to walking in it. You stop searching for faith and start living from it. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about knowing, even in imperfection, that you are held, supported, and empowered by something far greater than the situation before you. You stop reacting to life and begin to respond to it with clarity, with peace, and with power. That's what it means to embody faith. Faith is not merely a positive mindset. It's a vibration, a frequency, a posture of the soul. It's the unwavering knowing that, even when your eyes cannot see it, something divine is orchestrating every step of your journey for your good. And when you affirm that every hour, you're not just affirming for the sake of ritual. You're building that frequency into your cells, your choices, your tone, your timing. Your nervous system begins to regulate to a new standard. You start to breathe easier, speak softer, trust deeper. You stop second-guessing and start expecting miracles and abundance. That too becomes something you wear with grace. Not just material abundance, but an abundance of time, of peace, of creativity, of opportunities, of divine connections. When your heart is aligned with spiritual truth, you don't chase money. You embody value. You don't chase people. You radiate presence. You don't manipulate outcomes. You walk in surrender, knowing what is for you cannot miss you. Your energy carries the fragrance of trust, and that kind of energy is magnetic. It draws in everything that matches it. You no longer just ask for a miracle. You become the space where miracles happen naturally. Embodiment is what makes the difference between someone who knows about spiritual principles and someone who lives by them. Anyone can repeat a mantra. Anyone can read a book. But the one who embodies the truth is the one who transforms not just their life, but the lives of those around them. Because energy is contagious. Your peace becomes an atmosphere. Your confidence becomes a permission slip for others to rise. Your abundance becomes a blessing that flows through you and spills into everything you touch. You might begin to notice how your energy changes rooms. How people listen differently when you speak. How challenges don't unnerve you the way they used to. You may even find that what used to trigger you no longer holds the same power. Why? Because when you embody faith and abundance, your identity shifts. You no longer identify with struggle. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You identify with divine power, with purpose, with alignment. And when your identity shifts, your reality follows. You attract not what you want, but who you are. The journey to embodiment is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. It shows up in your decisions. The ones you no longer make out of fear. It shows up in your standards, the ones you quietly raise without needing to explain. It shows up in your presence, calm, unwavering, deeply rooted. And even when challenges come, you don't fall apart, you recalibrate. You return to truth faster. You recover with grace. You lead with light. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's built moment by moment, affirmation by affirmation, hour by hour. You may not feel it right away. Some days, saying the words might feel like going through the motions. That's okay. The body learns through repetition. The mind learns through repetition. The soul awakens through repetition. Even when you feel nothing, you are still watering the seed. And eventually, that seed breaks through the soil and becomes visible in every area of your life. It becomes your character, your peace, your prosperity, your power. And here's the most beautiful part: once you embody it, you don't have to prove it. You don't have to convince anyone. You don't have to strive to manifest something, because embodiment is the highest form of attraction. You live the vibration, you walk it, you breathe it. And because of that, you naturally draw in what aligns with your energy. You become the evidence of what is possible when a soul chooses to believe, to affirm, and to align, relentlessly, consistently, and courageously. This world is full of people trying to find peace in external things. They chase money, success, validation, attention, all in the hopes that it will make them feel secure. But you have chosen a different path. You've chosen to become peace, to become aligned, to become abundance itself. That's the path of the awakened. The path of those who don't just seek transformation, they become the transformation. You might not always see immediate results, but if you could see what is shifting in the spirit when you speak divine truth, you would never stop. The energy around you reorganizes. Doors begin to creak open. Paths that seemed blocked begin to soften. People you haven't met yet are already being prepared to align with your purpose. Resources begin to flow. Delays become detours with divine timing. All because you chose, hour after hour, to align your words, your energy, and your identity with divine law. There is no limit to how far you can rise when you walk this path of embodiment. There is no ceiling on how much peace, love, impact, and overflow you can carry. But it all begins and continues with your commitment to truth, the simple act of affirming it again and again until it saturates every cell of your being. So speak it again. Divine intelligence guides me. Divine abundance flows through me. Everything is working out for my highest good, not as a wish, but as a declaration, not as a hope, but as a knowing. Because the moment you live from that place, you become a living embodiment of everything your soul came here to remember. You become the message. You become the miracle. You become the light in the room. And the world begins to respond in kind.